When God says no, I don't necessarily mean when he's not talking to you, but I mean when you take a step of faith and he says no. And you pray and pray and pray and he says no. And you try this thing over here and he says no. And you're trying to get out of a situation, you don't know what to do, but he says no. How do you move forward with that? There's a couple questions we're going to address today in this video. 1, why does God say no to you? 2, what does it say about you that God keeps saying no? 3, how do you move from a no to a yes? I'm really excited about this one. It's going to be a good one for those who keep hearing no, no, no. You ready? You ready? Let's talk about it. Come on. Hi, my name is Seth Ferrier, if we haven't met yet, and this channel exists to help those people who feel like God's called them to do something or to become something, but they don't know how to take that next step. They don't know what to do. They're trying to find their way, trying to find out who they're supposed to be to live that person that they know that God's called them to be, but things just keep getting in the way. There's a couple of topics that I can talk about for a long time. One of those is living in a wilderness season, and we'll talk about that in another video. But today, we're going to talk about something that I know really, really well, hearing no's from God. I have done so many things in my life that I feel like was a good thing that God said no to. I thought I was supposed to plant a church in Florida one time. And if you ever heard of this phrase called a reticular activator, it's when you start seeing the things that you want. For example, when me and my wife were traveling to have kids, it took us a while. Everybody was pregnant. When I wanted a Jeep, wanted a Jeep, started seeing Jeeps everywhere. It's like if you ever buy a red car, you probably see that same red car everywhere you go. All right, this happened to me with a church plant idea I had. And I'm not a lead pastor. I didn't go to school. I I went to college, but I didn't go to a seminary school to plant churches. I had this like unction, like I want to plant a church and let's go to Orlando, Florida. Did a college internship at Disney. Loved it down there. I thought it'd be a cool place to go. And I started seeing all these signs from God is what I thought it was. And it was little things like one day my radio station started playing a radio station from Orlando, Florida. And it was like, hey, welcome to sunny whatever in Orlando, Florida, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's random because I was living in South Carolina at the time. Why would they randomly picked up? No joke. 2 days later, my phone rings. I look at it. It says Orlando, Florida. I'm like, it's literally calling me. And like 2 or 3 times in the next week or two, I kept getting these phone calls from Orlando, Florida. Now, they were timeshares because we had been online looking, but, neither here nor there. But I started submitting myself to the authority in my life. And they're like, yeah, that's not what you're supposed to do. That you're not going to do well with that. And I'm like, okay. That was enough. And then I started to want to start a YouTube channel a bunch of years ago. Guy was like, no, this ain't it. And then I went to start selling online books and courses and all these different things. And guy was like, nope. I remember a couple times I'd start to hit record on the video and the power would go out. And the first time it's a coincidence. Third or fourth time, you got something there. God's trying to get your attention. And I could feel it. I felt it deep inside me that like, this is a good thing that I'm trying to do. But it ain't right. I went back to real estate school. I did real estate for a long time. And when I got out of it to do the job that I was doing after that, I was like, let me go back into real estate. And I walked into the room of real estate agents with some really great people. And I'm like, all right, I'm back home. I know these people. This is what I'm going to do. And God was like, no. And I almost like started crying. And I'm not a crier. I haven't cried in like 30 years. Like the inside's tearing up on me. Like, no, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do? So I went to school, got my coaching license, right? Got my coaching degree to start earning my hours, get my coaching license. I'm going to start my own coaching business. And I was like, no. Now, I got more stories of no after no after no. The problem is I got a wife who sees me as somebody that starts a lot of things but doesn't finish it. But in my mind and in my soul, I know God's saying no, no, no. So there's a rub there. And so my wife is asking me, well, you're getting all these no's, and I agree with those no's, but when's the yes come? And I'm like, oh, baby, if I only knew that. And so I started praying and I'm working through a process of all these no's. And I want to run over some of those questions for you just to kind of give you some hope and give you a pathway through this. I want to give you some tools and stuff to work through this. So number one question is, why does God say no? All right, 3 answers real fast, okay? You're not ready, they're not ready, or he's not ready. All right, it's timing. You're not ready, they're not ready, he's not ready. More than likely, it's one of those things. So you're not ready. What do I mean by that? I know you're ready. I know you're ready for the answer, whether that is a spouse or direction for your college or direction on a career, or should you move to a different state, or what you should do about your health. You're like, no, I am ready for the answer. Correct. You are ready for the answer. But you may not be ready for the responsibility that comes with that. I think about Joseph in the Bible, and God told him, hey, your family is going to bow down to you. And then he was sold into slavery, and then he went to prison, and he did all these things, but God was doing something inside him. Think about King David. King David was anointed king as a kid, and then he had to sit there and watch Saul do things wrong, dishonor God, do all these things that David knew should have been done, but God was working in him until the right time. All right, so maybe you're not ready yet. And I know that's hard to hear. I know it is. I thought I had been ready. Every step of my journey, I thought I was ready. Every single step. And then when I get into a situation, I'm like, ooh, Lord, I need you right now. You know what that means? That means I ain't ready for that. Besides the fact that my readiness is saying, God, I need you in this situation. Or maybe you are ready. Maybe they're not ready. That's 100% possible. I mean, you can find story after story in the Bible of God saying, I'm going to do this, but the people that they were trying to help had to be ready. For example, when God led his people out of Egypt, right? So they sent the 12 spies, or 10 spies, Joshua and Caleb said, we can take it. The other 10 said, we can't take it. And they scared them. Joshua and Caleb were right. In fact, Joshua was the one who God used to take the people across. But the people weren't ready. So they had to die off. And then when it was time, Joshua and Caleb went. And I loved Caleb's line and said, give me my mountain, 80 years old. He was ready to take what was promised to him. So it wasn't a them issue. The people they were around, their family, the people they were supposed to lead weren't ready. They didn't do anything wrong. It was just timing. Or maybe he's not ready. Maybe it's just a God thing. I think about Jesus with this. Jesus came at the perfect time for the gospel to spread as fast as it did. They say one of the reasons that the gospel spread as fast as it did was because of the Roman road system that was laid out. If it had happened 100 years earlier, those road systems weren't there. And so just that road system being able to spread the gospel as much as it did. Right? So it's timing. So again, you're not ready, they're not ready, or he's not ready. There's another reason, and it's intertwined with timing, is protection. You know, Jesus was 30 years old when his ministry started, right? And he was dead 3 years later. If he'd have started that ministry at 20, would he have gone 13 years and saying, I don't know. God could do anything. But it was 3 years from the time he started his ministry to what he was called to do until he gave his life up. You don't know what that thing you're asking for will lead to you. I think about Joseph, right? He saw his family bowing to him. Well, that was because there were 7 years of famine and people were dying all over the place and losing their land, losing their animals and family members. So all we can think about is the win, but we can't think about the thing that may come with it. Maybe you're just praying for a spouse and that's the only thing you can focus on. I got to get a spouse. Well, what happens if you get it and something happens to that spouse, or that spouse ain't everything you thought they would be? Uh-oh. What happens if I have this dream of speaking? Okay, I feel like that's something that God's called me to do. It's not in the area that I'm doing right now, and I've kind of see a vision for it. But if that came to pass, what happened if that happened when my kids were young and I wouldn't get to see them grow up? Maybe I'd be busy on the road and I wouldn't get to see their childhood. But I've gotten to see their childhood now. So it's perspective. God may be protecting you. You just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And God knows everything. So we got to trust in that timing. So he may be protection. Some of you are a lot like me. And as soon as God says go, you're going to put everything you have into something and you're going to go full force flying straight toward it. Right? And that may be why God hasn't given you a yes yet. Because you're going to hit 100% gas, pedal to the metal, let's go. And you're going to miss all the other things that God's trying to do to you. Not to you, but for you in your life. And he's trying to teach you. Because you're going to be so mission focused, which is a good thing. He's called you to do something and you're going to do it. And you're going to do it to the best of your ability and nobody's going to stop you because God told you to do it. Let's go. And God's like, I know. And if God has put a dream or a vision in your heart, it's just as important to him that comes to fruition than it is for you to do it. So you got to think, all right, if God put this vision in my heart, he also wants this for me. So let me position myself so when it does happen, I'm in a good place. My family's in a good place. Most importantly, me and God are in a good place, and we can do it the proper way. So there's some reason why he may say no. Timing, your protection, and you know it's going to get all your focus, all right? But what does it say about you that God continually says no to what you're doing? Let me start with saying what it doesn't say about you that he says no. Because some of y'all need to hear this. He is not saying that you let him down. He is not saying that you're a failure. He is not saying that your time has passed. He is not saying that you're not good enough. He is not saying that he is better off without you. He is not saying that he's just put you on a shelf. He is not saying that you've been discarded. He is not saying that you're no good for his kingdom. He is not saying that you're going to mess up his kingdom. These are some of the lies that I told myself that I had to get past. Because it's lies from the enemy in my head to keep me from doing the things that God does want me to do while I'm focused on this one big thing. So what does it say about you that God says no? You ready? It says he loves you. I know. I know that ain't comfortable to hear. Because if he loved you, he would make the dream come true. If he loved you, he would give you the desires of your heart. Right? And that's scripture. But what we're saying is, God, we want the desires of my heart when I want them, and that is now. But God could be protecting you, like we talked about. He could be protecting you from things you don't even understand. The most important thing from this video that I want you to get, and you can cut the video off after this point if you want to. God cares more about the relationship between you and him than he does about the thing that you're praying for. Whether that's your health, your finances, your calling, the person you want to become, a spouse, college, whatever it is that you're praying for, God cares more about the relationship between you and him than any of that. Everything else is secondary. The third place, fifth place, 20th place, whatever place it's going to be, it doesn't come close to that point. So if you're praying for direction and you're not getting it, I want to give you a phrase that has super helped me that I felt like God gave me, and I put it as a little widget on my phone. So every time I open my phone, I see it, and it's what I pray every time that I feel like God says no to me, or every time I'm praying about something and I'm not getting an answer. It's this right here. Connection over direction. Connection over direction. I want you to pray, God, bring me closer to you and the thing that I want. I need the direction, but bring me close to you more than the direction. Because if I get the thing that I'm praying for, but I don't have that closeness with God, who cares? Who cares? If I get the connection with God and I don't get the thing I'm praying for, that's the win. If I'm praying, I'm going to do something superficial. Let's say I'm praying for a red shirt. I really want a red shirt. I got no red shirts. And I know that's a dumb thing compared to the things you're praying for. But hear it this way, and then we'll apply it. All I want is a red shirt. God, if I had a red shirt, then, man, I'd stand out in the crowd, and people would ask me about my red shirt, and I could tell them about you and how you provided that red shirt. Okay? And God's like, that's great. I just want you to pray. I just want to spend time with you. But I need the red shirt so that I can build rapport with people so then I can tell them about you. And God's going, yeah, I know. But I can handle that. And we can do that also. But let's focus on me and you first. So connection over direction. Think about when Joseph led the people into the promised land. He said, God, I don't want to go if you're not going with me. Like, let's just stay here in the wilderness, because at least in the wilderness, you're with me. But if you're not going to go, I don't want to go. I can't tell you how many times I've said, God, if you're not with me, I don't want to do it. And I can start something and feel he's not with me, and I'm like, okay, we're not doing it. So that's the prayer, connection over direction. So how do you find a yes when everything is a no? All right, let's get down to it. I noticed the one you want to know. One, I want you to search for the guaranteed yeses in the Bible. All right, I know you're praying about this one thing, yes, but let's start getting the other yeses down. Here's one. Jesus says if you want to love him, take care of the widows, orphans, those in prison, serve each other, love your neighbor. If you're looking for a yes on a college to go to, God can give you that. Why don't you start by taking care and serving somebody that you see that needs help? If you're trying to find a career path to go to because you need money to pay the bills, I get that. Why don't you start with somebody on your street that's a little bit worse off than you that you just go say hey to and see how you can help them? Maybe you can just mow their yard. Something. Do the things that Jesus said, this is love. If you take care of widows, orphans, those in prison. Maybe you're trying to find, you need God to bless you financially. Okay, that's one that people always talk about. Let's be honest. The majority of our prayers are always about comfort. Food, money, shelter. We're in pain. Like I got in a car wreck a couple weeks ago. We got rear-ended. I lost my Jeep that I waited 30 years for. I haven't had it in weeks. I don't know when I'm going to get it. I got rear-ended 45 miles an hour. My neck is killing me. My back is killing me. And at the end of the day, I could use those as an excuse to not make videos. I can use those as an excuse to not go to work. I can use it as an excuse to not spend time with God because it's uncomfortable to sit in my chair and read my Bible. No. The pain's a pain. Let's move past comfort into closeness with God. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build this closeness with God. All right? So those are guaranteed yeses to serve and love people. I was talking about finances. So let's say that you're praying about your finances. Well, I'll just tell you what I have done. You can copy it, make it your own, change the amount. But I take a certain amount of money. All right? For me, it was $20. Folded up that 20, put it in my wallet so it's not there. All right? And I say, God, anytime you want me to give this $20 out, let me know. I'm happy to do it. All right? I have yet to hear God say, Seth, give that person $20. Nah. But there's a homeless guy on the side of the street asking for money. Now, my first sign is just get a job. You're probably going to spend it on drugs. You're probably going to spend it on alcohol. You're going to do something with it you shouldn't do, right? All right. Put that mess aside. Give him $20. It's not your responsibility what somebody else does with the money that you bless them with, right? It's just like tithe. I tithe to a church. I hope they spend it well. If they don't, that's between them and God, but I am tithing to God through a church. This is my opinion on it, okay? I can be wrong. That's just my opinion on it. Go out to dinner. You got a restaurant. You're going to leave a tip. The waiter or waitress ain't that great. Oh, here's that 20. I'm going to give them extra 20. Why? Because sometimes maybe they just are having a hard night and money's tight and they've been dealing with rude people all day, getting 10% tip from Christians who tip 10%, which is crazy to me. You're going to show the love of Christ, but you're going to be stingy. Anyway, I won't get on that topic today. But pull the 20 out. Give it to them. Maybe that'll make their day. Give them $100. Whatever you got, whatever that number is for you, $10, $5, $1, $100, whatever it is for you, just store it away. And say, God, use me for this. These are things that you can get yeses on. All right? Here's another way to get a yes. Change the yes that you're searching for job, whatever it is, finances, to deeper connections. So, God, I know you know that I want a new job. Okay? Until then, can we please grow closer? Will you, when I read your word in the Bible, will you make it come to life? Help me to see the things you want me to see, hear the things you want me to hear, smell the things you want me to smell. Like, what was it like? Help me to feel it. Help me to understand what the people and the side characters were thinking. Lord, I want to grow closer with you. Holy Spirit, fill me, guide me, so that I can become closer to God, more sanctified. Will you do that? Yeah. And by the way, I would love for my neck to be healed. And by the way, I would love for finances to be fixed. And by the way, you know these things. You already know them. Can we get closer? You'll get a yes that way. How about this one? This was fun. All right. You got your dreams of your life and what you think you should do and what God's calling you to do and the person who's coming you to become. And you got it on a dry erase board or a big poster board, and people put them on their mirrors in their bathroom and write their dreams and goals everywhere. You ready? Erase it. Erase everything. And give God permission to give you a new dream. Okay? I know, but the dream you had is this big thing. Okay, but if it's so big that you can't erase it and follows maybe a new dream that God gives you, it's probably become an idol. And I know that's hard to hear because some of you want really good things like a spouse, like children, like better finances so you can take care of people that you love and help people overseas, or a great career. All these great things are good things. But if you can't take it and chunk it, then it's probably become an idol in your life. I'm not saying it definitely has, but that's a question you need to ask God. God, is this an idol in my life that I'm only going to move forward if I get the yes? And if I don't get the yes, then I'm going to be angry at you for not giving me my yes. Then that has probably become an idol. Again, probably. That's just between you and God. Again, it's a good thing, and I understand that. But give God the opportunity to erase everything that you're thinking that you want in your life, every hope and dream, all that good stuff. Maybe He's got something better for you. Maybe it's a new dream. Okay? Here's the other thing to get a yes. It's the last one on getting yeses. Every time you get that no, all right, I'm praying for this thing and I get a no, take a time and thank God for 3 yeses that He has said in your life. Okay? Here's an example. All right? God, I want you to heal my neck. It hurts. But I thank you that I had food today. Thank you for the yes that I had electricity today. Thank you for the yes that my kids have a house to live in. Right? Here's one. Sometimes I'm kind of in a bad mood and I don't know what to say yes to. Here's one that always brings me to a good place. And I want to share it with you, and I want you to start doing it because we do not do this enough. God, thank you for including Gentiles into your plan. Do you realize He could have just left it a Jewish faith? He could have just left it to the people in a certain demographic area. But He opened it up for the Jews and the Gentiles alike. His word says that anyone who calls upon His name will be saved. That's anyone. Does that include the people that I don't like? Anyone. And He opened that up to the Gentiles. And I am a Gentile. Lord, thank you for including me in that plan because you didn't have to. And start practicing gratitude for all the yeses that He's done in His life. If you want to go to bed with a smile on your face, take a piece of paper and write down 10 things that He's done for you and the yeses that He has given you in the past. When you were short on money before and God made a way. When you were sick and God made a way. When you needed a car and God made a way. When you weren't sure if your kids were going to get saved or even have friends that loved the Lord and God brought somebody into their life and God made a way. Right? It's called gratitude. All right. So these are the 3 things I want to close with. All right. As we close, remember, these are the top 3 things I want you to remember from these videos. Number 3, no's are just as important as yeses because it shows you that the timing's just not right or it's there to protect you. Okay? So those are just as important. Number 2, you are still loved whether you get a no or a yes. Settle that right now. If God tells you no to every single thing you pray from now until you go home, you're just as loved as if He says yes to everything. That's hard because so many of us equate love with getting things, right? If you love me, you'll spend money on me. If you love me, you'll spend time with me. If you love me, you'll do what I want. Right? Well, what if God just turned that back on you? If you love me, you'll spend time with me. Yeah, that's a tough one. All right? And number 1, the last thing. Get this, please. Connection over direction. Every time. Connection over direction. Connection over direction. God, what do I do about this? All right, switch that. That's a good prayer. God, you know I need this and I'm concerned about this, but how can we grow deeper today? God, what's one way that I can grow deeper with you today? So as we close, thank you guys for taking the time to watch all these videos. Share it with somebody if you think it can help them. But come back next week. We're going to do some more topics like this going through. Maybe we're doing on the wilderness season, or drop something in the chat if you want to see a topic covered. And I'd love to hear how this week you prioritize connection over directions. Until next time, take care. God bless.